So they say retail is therapy, but for me, sewing is truly therapy. So let's start out. When did sewing become therapy for you all?
I guess I can start. I grew up in a house of I'm the oldest of seven kids. So the machine that we used was my mother's machine, which was in her room. So it was a way to get away from everybody. So when I sewed, people normally just left me alone and it was just like a quiet space. So I used to do that, and I mean, I know I said in a previous episode, I mean, I used to sew all everybody's it clothes at once, so they really left me alone because they wanted the outfit. So it's just like that became my thing. And my father, he's a general contractor, and he used to light incense and play music every time he started working. So I picked up that habit from him because back then, TV, you didn't have, I didn't watch TV really. It was music, incense, and sewing, and that was my way of just shutting everything off and just basically sewing. And I carry it to this day. I mean, now I have a TV in my my sewing space. I have candles, I have a diffuser, I have incense, everything scent therapy, and I definitely have speakers. I have like a sound system in here. So now here you go.
For me, I think it has always been like a comfort zone, something you always fall back to. But in the last few, probably 4 or 5 years, I don't do it as much. So I created this thing where after work, and I work from home most days, I will dedicate a minimum of 1 hour to sewing every day. And that's how I decompress, and that's my therapy. And I'll turn on something on the TV that doesn't require thought. It's funny you say music, Zahia, because every time I teach, my private student comes in and I always say, "What's mood?" And we pick whatever music we're going to work to that day. So it just goes hand in hand. You create your space, you curate your space. For those of us who do this for a living, you kind of curate your space. I always pick something that I want to make for myself when I need that therapy. I'm not making anything to sell, I'm not teaching, I'm not making anything for anybody. If I'm really in a mood and I need to lighten that mood, I pick something that I want to make for me. So that's how I create that comfort space and get into that headspace. And then, of course, my 1 hour usually turns into 2 or 3. So.
The same with me. It's the space where I can go put my music on, and I get lost in it to the point where it's been that way for as long as I've known how to sew. I just get into my own space, focused, and can sew and don't even realize how many hours I've been there. Even so that I will sew into the night, be up all night sewing because now I'm trying to beat the sun. Like I want a full wardrobe to be complete before the sun rises. So
You know what's funny? I used to do that when I was in high school. Like I used to come home, I used to have an idea. I come home, I had the fabric, I had the pattern, whatever I did, and I did whatever I had to do before I had to start sewing. And I would make my outfit for the next day. No matter how late it took me, cut 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, wake up, 6 o'clock, have to go to school. I did that, and it was fun. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you were exhausted, but it was fun. Now that I'm doing tutorials for YouTube, that's not as therapeutic as when I'm doing it with no cameras, nothing. Like I'm not demonstrating anything. So it always has to be like, no one's here, my door's closed, and everything is just like quiet.
yeah, I've discovered that when I'm teaching and instructing, especially for recording, I'm more so making sure that my stitches are straight, that I'm teaching them everything like the correct process and none of my little shortcuts because I know it's instructional. They're going to use it. I want them to start off on the good foot. When I'm sewing for myself and for therapeutic, there have been times when I've sewed literally sewed a dress and it's like, wait, you didn't have any lining, you didn't finish the inside. I just had to get it out of my head, and it's like it was enough, it was cute enough to wear, but it's like you're gonna need to go back and clean it up.
I tell my students all the time, we put all our uglies on the inside. There's nothing you need to see on the inside. Nobody needs to know what's on the inside of your garment. I mean, I don't do that as a practice, but.
So what kind of creative rituals do you all have?
When I sit down to sew, I want everything cut out already. So I like to take a whole day and cut out everything I want to make. And Letitia is laughing at me because she knows that I'm a little bit anal about it. So each project has its own bag and label, and I put them in the bin. And sometimes I will just go in that room, close my eyes, pull out something, and whatever I pull out is what I'm making that day. So that's one ritual that I have. And then another one that I have is if I can't think creatively sewing, I'll do something else. I'll color something or crochet something. I'll do something else until I can get my head back into the sewing space. But stop laughing at me. Yes, I do put everything in a project bag. And I teach project bags, and they come with their Ziploc bags because they listen to Professor Naima.
One of my rituals before I start any type of creative process is I have to have a clean space. Everything has to be where it's supposed to be. I have to be able to find all my tools. Everything has to be vacuum dusted, whatever. Just because I cannot create in a disorganized space. I know some people might say it's anal. It can be whatever. But that's just the way that my brain works. Like, it was too much distraction. It just can't happen. I mean, because you see this, right? This is, everything has to be in order. And if you see my sewing space, everything has to be in order because I have to be able to find the tools that I need when I need them, so that I'm not sitting there searching for a seam ripper or, a snip or something. I have to have all my buttons, my zipper, everything that I need for that project has to be out and visible so that I can do the whole project without any type of interruption.
You would hate my space. I work in creative chaos. I know where everything is in the midst of my crazy. It's just look like it's organized chaos because I can tell you where everything is.
So for me, the ritual stuff, one, I am not cutting everything. I literally hate cutting. If I could pay someone to cut out my fabric, I would. But I get it. And the bags, I will say I do use some bags to for certain things, but I cut and I do have to have a clean space. My sewing machines, my thread, need to know where all of my supplies are because once I start, I don't want to be searching because then I'm mad. How are we using sewing to reset mentally and emotionally? When if I'm too emotional, it may show up in the garment.
Well, you have to be in a sort of relaxed state or like a mentally focused state, because if you're agitated or angry or any like annoyed, you end up sewing the wrong pieces together, wrong sides together. The machine doesn't want to work. The stitches are coming out wrong. So you have to be in a space of patience, of focus, of, just trying to be in a creative space. So you have to be in that space. Otherwise you will make mistakes. So with all the craziness that's going on in the world today, sometimes you just need a break. You have to shut everything off and just take a reset. And sometimes this is a reset. I mean, I have lots of plants. So I just go around watering my plants. So it's a lot. Y'all seen them, but I'm just saying. I have a lot of plants, so sometimes that is therapeutic. I do not talk to them. They do not have name, but I do take care of them.
Do you have any tips for making your sewing space nurturing?
My music, my aromatherapy, and my clean space, and my organization. Those are the tips I have, but I mean, that's me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I think everybody's different and everybody creates differently. So I can say how my space needs to be for me to create, well, or, have a creative flow. But Naima just said the opposite. She's like, she works well in chaos. So, it's up to you to find what works for you.
Type of encouragement for anyone who's stuck, who's maybe experiencing a creativity roadblock?
It doesn't have to be perfect. You can always change, and there's a seam ripper. I mean, all of us use a seam ripper on a daily. So it doesn't have to be perfect. All of us. Yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect. Don't let analysis paralysis stop you from starting a project. And if anything, it's just like, just clear your space. I mean, that's just me. Clear your space, make room for it. A lot of things people don't make room for. So you have to make room for creativity. So if you have a lot of things going on, sometimes you just need to pause and say, okay, I can get to that. I can get to that. Make space for it, physically and, mentally. So just make space for it.
I would say walk away. Don't be afraid to walk away for a minute. If you are making something and it's challenging and it's frustrating, turn off your machine, get up, walk away, go have a cup of tea or a cup of whatever you like in your cup. Sit there for a minute. Maybe if you are following some sort of pattern, just read the instructions without looking at the project. Just kind of read them and absorb them. But just walk away, because the more you sit there and the more you try to work it out and it's not working and you've seen ripped for like the third time, it's going to frustrate you even more.
All right, so that's all we have for today for sewing and therapy. Hope you enjoy some of our tips. I'm Letitia of Keeping You in Stitches. Yeah.